Welcome to another potentially exciting episode of the Dragon Cast. It's really not exciting, but whatever, we're gonna roll with that right now. I am Hail Zeon, and with me, as always, is Miss Mozilla Vulpix. Gabby, say hello.
Hello. Listen, Zeon, you need to stop undermining yourself. Like, I think this Dragon Cast is exciting, okay? Like, maybe not everybody else agrees, but hey, listen, what if we think it's exciting? Isn't that all that really matters?
I mean, we do have some very intense discussions about monkey tits. So, I mean, that it's already come back to haunt you.
It's only come back to haunt you because you were looking at the comments for 2 episodes ago, and now you've got reminded of it. I probably wouldn't have remembered, but the comment section does.
The comment section never forgets. So yeah, we are on episodes, I think it's 41 through 44?
Yes.
Okay, cool. And this is wrapping up the Red Ribbon Army stuff and then getting us into the start of a filler arc. So
yeah, like there's some kind of like there's some sort of leading up into stuff that's leading up into stuff that's leading up into the next part of the Red Ribbon Army, which is leading up to the other part of the Red Ribbon Army. God, the story arc is so much happens. There are so many mini story arcs within this story arc. It's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, no, this is one of the reasons why I really enjoyed the Red Ribbon Army arc, is because it's so dense with things going on. Because you have, like, you start off with, like, Pilaf and Colonel Silver, and then you have, like, just, Goku versus Silver, and then you go to Muscle Tower, and now we're about to, like, get into this filler arc with, Husky, and then we're about to get into Blue, and Blue's gonna have a big ol' arc, and then Tao Pai Pai.
Pirate Cave, Pirate Cave, and then Penguin Village,
right?
Then Tao Pai Pai, then Goku going around storming the Red Ribbon Army, then Uranai Baba, then, the final confrontation with Pilaf. Like, that is a lot of stuff.
Yeah, this arc is just so wild, and that, this is an adventure arc. This is why I love this arc so much, because when you think about, like, an adventure arc, like, we're gonna go on an adventure. Like, this is an adventure. Just so much shit happens. Fuck the Lord of the Rings. This is a grand trek through, like, whatever, and having grand adventures. Like, this is that. Fuck Lord of the Rings. This is a goddamn adventure.
This is the real Grand Tour, right? Right? Damn it, I probably will now. This is all your fault, okay? Actually, no, this is my fault. This is actually my fault. I said it. You know what? Never mind. God damn it.
Yeah, if I really wanted to get stuck in everyone's head, I would have been like, step into the Grand Tour. A brand new adventure begins. Another challenge. Oh, fuck. Another challenge for Goku and his friends. Yeah. I actually have that fucking song memorized. It sucks. Like, that and, like, the One Piece rap will never leave my brain. I will know them for all eternity.
Like, the One Piece rap is at least catchy, though, but, yeah. It's not as catchy as we are, though. We are as catchy as hell.
Well, see, like, I would say the GT rap is catchy, but mostly it's the chorus, the step into the Grand Tour, because that, like, feels so much in tone with the, like, Dragon, rock the dragon. Like, it's such an American theme song for Dragon Ball. Like, it feels like such an American Dragon Ball theme song.
Let's just all ignore it and start singing Chala Hechala at the top of our lungs again. Or is that just me?
As long as it's not the flow version, because the flow version was garbage. I
didn't mind it, but yeah.
Oh god, I hate that synthy auto-tuned cover. Oh my god. So yeah, we're here to talk about early Dragon Ball, long before.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, we basically talked about every part of the franchise there except actual Dragon Ball.
Right? Yeah. Let's talk about long ago, before some pretty boy Japanese pop band ruined one of my favorite anime theme songs. Let's talk about Dragon Ball. So, like I said, this is picking up from where we left off. White. What is White's rank? I always forget. It's not Colonel.
It's according to the subs, it's General, and
General. Okay. So yeah, General White. Yeah, because he said he was like White Shogun is what they're actually saying.
Yeah,
right?
like that's what I can hear. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's what I can hear.
Okay. So yeah, General White. Yeah. Like, Goku is having his big face-off with him, and a somewhat uncharacteristic line for Goku, he just straight up says, "Get ready to die."
I think that's an anime-only thing, or at the very least, I'm pretty sure...
No!
It's not?
I'm sorry. Okay, sorry. I thought you were going to say that was a dub line. No. My bad. Continue. You continue what you're saying.
Like, I'm pretty sure it's the anime-only line, or just, at the very least, the part where Goku is like the Hatchan, where it's like, oh, you stopped me from killing him. And like, that sounds like that sounds very odd. And like, that was sub only. Anime only. So that was kind of like, I feel like, the manga is kind of like still very ambiguous over whether Goku's actually killing these people or not, like intentionally. But in the anime, they're very much like, no, they're all dying. Everyone's dead. Have fun.
Yeah, the manga translates that scene as, okay then, get ready for no more Mr. Nice Goku. So, yeah. Which honestly, that feels way more like a Vizism.
Oh,
like, I have a feeling
anything that's weird and kind of pop culture-y is definitely a Vizism.
Yeah. Yeah, so, like, the sub might actually be more accurate than the official Viz manga in this case to what was actually in the Japanese manga. So yeah, Goku has that, and then Goku has one of the best shit talk lines ever, where White punches him, and Goku just goes, "I think a fly landed on me."
And then he responds with, like, a real punch would be like this. It's like, oh. And it's like...
Yeah.
Ugh.
And he just decks the shit out of him. And... what was it? Friggin'... this leads us into a little bit of filler. And once again, this is like, the anime going a little bit darker than the manga does.
And this is pretty dark in itself. Like, can I just continue. I'll talk about this later. Yeah.
So, White grabs Goku's tail. Like, it doesn't seem like he's aware that that's, like, his weakness or anything. It's just, like, he sees it as a tail, so he's gonna, like, try and just, reach to grab Goku to immobilize him. And then whenever Goku, like, loses his strength, he's just like, oh, haha. And he, like, starts swinging Goku around, like, beating the shit out of him. And, not realizing that his tail is, his tail being held is what's hurting him, he chucks Goku. And when Goku stands up, Goku loses his shit and beats the fuck out of White. Like, this is, like, a pretty brutal beatdown for, like, Goku. And it isn't until Hatchan steps in and, like, physically stops Goku. It's like, you're going to kill him. And, like, has to physically stop Goku.
I mean, in all honesty, just, like, in fact, in both versions, in the manga and the anime, this is, like, part of the, especially, like, the tone of it is, like, one of the weirdest messed up things that we've seen in the series so far, because it's like, it's the climax of Muscle Tower. Like, this is the final big bad dude. You'd assume, like, he's the final big bad dude because he's the strongest. This is going to be the strongest fight, but it's like, it's not. Like, White is basically a pushover, but he kind of responds by being just incredibly scummy and not fighting fair, and it's like, really messed up. Like, after that, he's like, when he realizes he can't beat Goku, although he has a gun, he keeps a gun and, like, he kind of hides it. He goes and he gets out the village chief, and he holds a gun to the village chief's head, and he's basically just like, now, do what I say, or else blow this guy's brains out. And it's like, things just got really real in this episode. Like, yeah. I mean, obviously we know that there are hostages and people could die and yada yada yada, but that's never really a plot point. But here is like a plot point. Like, Goku has to do things or else people are going to die, and it's like, whoa, when did this series start getting real?
Right. And, like, they even add in, like, an extra little layer to, like, the village chief being held at gunpoint, where, like, in the anime, he actually tells, like, Hatchan, he's like, kill the boy. 8, kill the boy. And it's just, like, what the fuck, dude? Like, he's already has, like, the power position. Goku is, turned his back, like, he's just, you know, like, Goku isn't gonna, like, you know, fuck with him at this moment. But, like, you know, he tries to get 8 to kill Goku, and then, you know, he just has Goku turn around, and, you know, he has, like, this hyper gun. Like, he says, like, you know, it's a really powerful gun. It's way stronger than, like, a regular handgun. And he shoots Goku in the back of the head. And unlike any other time Goku's been shot, this drops him. This actually, like, physically really harms Goku and just almost, like, pretty much knocks him out completely. Like, you know, Goku is, you know, completely immobilized at this point. And Hatchan, just in a moment of just pure rage, just knocks White through a wall and into the horizon.
Like, even in the it's like, even in the manga, like, it's like, I've just been, like, just thinking about this, and it's like, you know, people say that it's like, oh, you know, it's like Bora's death against Tao Pai Pai, where, like, Dragon Ball starts getting serious. I think this is where things start getting serious. Although, to be fair, like, the manga does have one gag in here, and it's a kind of weird gag, almost feels a little bit out of place, where it's essentially, basically, the chief is pretty much like, when he realizes the situation, he's like, listen, don't worry, I'm happy to die if that means my village is saved. It's alright, you can go kill me. And then Goku, completely oblivious, is like, okay, well, I guess I'll go. And then basically the chief, realizing how quickly he could just legitimately die, is like, but wait, if you can also save my life in the process, that would be nice. And it's like, it's like, that's like the only gag, and the fact that it is a gag there almost makes it feel like Toriyama almost thought that, like, this was getting a little bit too serious, and he wants to make things a little bit more lighthearted, but it's like, God, it's messed up.
Yeah.
It's like especially like in the anime as well, where he's like, you know, you kill Goku right now, or I'm gonna kill this guy. Either way, somebody's going to die. And Hatchan is so conflicted over it. He's like falling to the ground, like, God damn it, why is this series trying to torture us? I don't understand.
Yeah, it's just, like I said, like, you know, like this is where we start getting, you know, that transition from, this is a lighthearted adventure for fun, to, this is, like, you know, a more serious story. Like, you know, the Red Ribbon Army is, at its core, it's still an army. It is they are an evil military faction, and they will do bad shit to good people, and,
like, it's kind of messed up that General White is actually probably one of the most despicable villains in the series, pretty much until, like, Piccolo.
I mean, Tao Pai Pai is a real bastard.
At the very least, he has the idea that, like, he's sort of doing his job. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, but doesn't he actually kill the person who makes his new clothing?
That's true.
Or was that only in the anime? Okay, that's like, because I remember him, like, killing just, like, an innocent person who wanted to charge him for making clothes for him.
That being said,
That
being said, there is one kind of, like, basically the one thing that basically just makes everything pretty much feel like it kind of wraps itself up a bit neatly, and kind of being, like, kind of gets a bit more conventional, kind of breaking off that weird, messed up thing, is the thing with Hatchan. Hatchan's big moment, you know, his big, like, oh, hey, the random big strong dude, but who also doesn't like to fight, has got into a situation where suddenly he's forced, something so terrible happens that he's forced into violence. And what do you know? He's also really, really strong. As in, like, so strong that he's actually stronger than Goku. Huh. What do you know? A pacifistic guy who gets really strong when they get mad, and is also stronger than Goku. Huh.
You know,
so basically, Hatchan is basically Proto-Gohan.
God damn it, you ruined my joke.
Sorry. Sorry, yeah, I was thinking it too.
I was gonna like cut you off and be like, you know, that's a really interesting plot point. You know, I really hope Toriyama brings this back in the future.
Oh, huh? Really? I wonder if he will bring it back. It would be very interesting. Actually, ironically, I was looking it up, and I think technically he did this first once and Dr. Slump once with Tsikutsun, whatever his name is, the Chinese dude who can turn into a tiger when he gets touched by girls. Anyway, but yeah, I always like it. I think I always like that, like, character archetype, that idea, the whole like kind of like the like sort of beware the nice ones thing, where it's like, oh, you know, the person who's like gentle and pacifistic and doesn't want to fight, if it is a situation where something so bad happens that even they want to like kill you, then you know you're fucked up and you're gonna die probably.
Right.
Die pretty painfully, maybe get chopped into pieces, punched really hard.
Yeah. Yeah, like Hatchan's awesome, you know, and just like I said, you know, Goku doesn't bounce back from that shot either. Like, Goku has to be, like, picked up by Hatchan and, like, carried out, like, of Muscle Tower and, like, taken back to Snow's house.
I love how in the manga they, the anime doesn't do it, but in the manga it's like, while Hatchan is carrying Goku out of the tower while they're sort of walking out, that's when, like, he starts basically saying, wow, Hatchan, that punch you did was really great. It was even stronger than my punches. And he's like, yeah, but I don't like violence. So it's, I don't know, I just like the way that they kind of put that in while they were leaving. I thought it was just a fun little thing they put in there.
Oh, was that line not actually in the anime?
Oh, no, it's in the anime, but
okay.
It's just like when they're on the top floor, but in the manga they put it in like they're talking while they're walking out of the tower.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, what the anime did do, though, was then having 8 just destroy Muscle Tower.
Yeah.
It's like, the usual, like, you know, they've conquered the tower, now it must fall down. It's like it's Castlevania or something.
Right, he just, like, goes, like, starts just punching through the wall and just tears down Muscle Tower. And it's just, which, like, are there still soldiers in there? Like that Goku beat up? Did Hatchan just, like, kill, like, 5 people?
I mean, it's Hatchan, so I assume he wouldn't, but then again, we already find out that Murasaki was in there, so does Murasaki not count? Did he get over his pacifism? But no, probably not, because he still says he doesn't like violence, and he, like, starts crying when he sees that Goku's okay, so just don't...
He probably, I mean...
Don't think about it too hard.
It just kind of... Yeah, it's just, I mean, like, I'm pretty sure Hatchan wouldn't think about it. He's just like, Muscle Tower bad, me go break Muscle Tower. But yeah, just, honestly, I really do love that scene of him just punching away at it and it just crumbling down. And it's just, because, it feels like closure to that storyline. And that's something that some of the filler really adds into this, is some closure. We're going to get that with this, and we're going to get it with the next episode as well. But, Goku has now conquered Muscle Tower, and now just, as you kind of put it, like the end of a Castlevania game, like the castle now crumbles. And, yeah, it just, like I said, it felt like closure. I really liked the addition of it. Yeah, I mean, there were probably still people in there, but let's just say Hatchan was being short-sighted.
Sure.
Because I feel like, if Muscle Tower, like, this symbol of, like, oppression over these people is still there, then that's always going to be something that's kind of looming over them. That, like, more Red Ribbon soldiers could just show up and just repopulate that tower at any point. So, like, just tearing it down, like I said, it's that nice little bit of closure.
Yeah, it's fun. And then, after that, it's basically just, like, that part... It's over. Goku won, and then we just get the aftermath of them going back to Snow's place, and the final punchline of Snow seeing Goku, and Goku's alive and well, and then Goku runs, and instead of embracing Snow, he just grabs the food that she's holding.
That was good, because because it is going for just that really generic, like, oh, like, they're gonna be reunited, but they don't really know each other. Like,
nope.
Like, I mean, I could see, like, Snow being, like, enamored with this young boy who just shows up out of nowhere and saves her village and all that, like, the triumphant hero. To Goku, Snow is just some girl, and she had like snacks in front of her, so Goku was hungry. So yeah, it was a cute little scene that ended on, and then we get into the next episode. Wow, we're actually making pretty good time on this.
Yeah, the only thing I didn't mention in my notes I wanted to mention was that I love how the way they communicate Hatchan anger is just like he has no eyes anymore. Fun little visual thing,
right?
That was cute.
Yeah, he just kind of goes like full. Oh, maybe that was the inspiration for Broly.
God damn! I knew you were gonna say it.
I'm just saying, maybe Hatchan is secretly the legendary Super Saiyan.
Oh, God damn it. Alright, let's go to episode 42.
I mean, he's big. You know, he comes off as really weak and unintimidating, or like not intimidating, and then just in fits of rage, he becomes this terrifying powerhouse with whited out eyes. It all comes full circle, Gaby. Hatchan inspired Broly. That is my headcanon.
God damn it, episode 42. So next episode it's just basically partially filler. Actually, no, it's pretty much mostly filler, but it's basically, it's filler in their way to kind of wrap up. Mostly, a lot of the Muscle Tower stuff, and basically also introducing some loose ends for them to wrap up as well. So essentially, 2 loose ends. First loose end is the fact that Hatchan still has a bomb inside of him, and that might just explode one day, so it'd be nice if we could get that removed without, preferably killing him. And the second one is that apparently, according to the anime anyway, Murasaki survived the fall of Muscle Tower, and now he's after getting revenge and stuff. And so they deal with that both in this one self-contained, fun, actually kind of surprisingly intriguing episode, although I kind of wish they went a bit further with it.
Right, yeah, no, because I do really appreciate that this episode, acknowledged that Hatchan had a bomb in him, because, I was shocked to learn that this was filler when I first saw it. Because it just feels like, the whole, Murasaki still being alive, that made sense, because, he was never, killed or anything. So, he's still roaming around out there. And, the bomb was never addressed. So, the fact that there is this episode that kind of wraps these two things up. I think, the only thing that actually makes it feel like a filler episode to me is that both of these things are wrapped up in one episode. Where I feel like if this were stuff from the manga, they probably would have stretched it out to 2 episodes.
That is true, actually.
But yeah, just that and the whole Dr. Frappe thing, because obviously we're gonna learn way later. Because I was so confused by this. I'm like, wait.
Yeah, this is I mean, there's no way they would have they could have known.
Yeah.
This is and the anime tries their best to make the filler as non-intrusive as possible, but unfortunately, this is one of those cases where there was no assumption that anyone in particular created Android 8, that it was just some guy in general. So they're like, okay, let's just invent who that guy is. And then, it's not until Android starts 91, right? So it'd be five or so years after, 4 years later, they finally no, actually the androids, all of them were created by this guy called Dr. Gero. So it's no, they wouldn't have known that. And unfortunately, it's one of those unfortunate things, it's essentially a plot hole, if you want to call it that, but there's nothing they could have done.
Yeah, no, because it's just one of those things, like you said, we never, there's no hint that there was ever gonna, who would have thought that Hatchan, this one-off character who showed up for a few chapters during the Red Ribbon Army arc, was going to be the basis for a massive arc later on, and they were going to completely explore, well, okay, not really explore, but they were going to, fill in some holes and be yeah, this is the guy who made Hatchan, and, now he made all these other robots, and he was really pissed about what happened to the Red Ribbon Army, because I think in, a Toriyama interview, Toriyama retconned it to where he was the secret leader of the Red Ribbon Army the entire time, but whatever.
I don't remember that part. I don't remember that one. I remember the one about...
I've heard people say that to me multiple times, and I've never actually seen it myself.
I've never heard that one. I thought it was just Jiro's just essentially, he's just generic mad scientist dude, and, Goku defeating the Red Ribbon Army was just his, catalyst for mad science, being mad science. Because, there's nothing about the androids that have anything really to do with, the Red Ribbon Army, besides the fact they've got the logo on them, but, that's something else.
Right.
But yeah, so they're basically just trying to get rid of, well, because this cute little thing in the manga, especially the manga does wrap this up, because they're what's going to happen to Hatchan, and the village chief offers that he can live with him, because it's he can be he's only got his wife there, and it's it would be nice to have somebody else in the house. And it's it's so cute. But then Hatchan refuses because he's got a bomb in his body. He is literally a ticking time bomb. So, although it's not a time bomb, but still. So, maybe not literally. But So then the chief suggests, let's go to Professor Frappe, because he knows science. He might be able to do it. And then Snow randomly also comes, because Snow apparently Frappe is kind of eccentric, but he likes snow, I guess. That's not really explained.
Yeah, just just some weirdo loner guy who hates everyone except for this one little girl in the village. Not trying to make any insinuations.
Oh God!
Not calling Frappe a pedophile. I'm just saying, little conspicuous.
Good job, great. Now you ruined that for me as well. And so, but yeah, and then it's like shock horror. Murasaki's also still alive, and he wants revenge, and he wants to still get the Dragon Balls or whatever. So then Murasaki sees them going, and then they basically then we start getting into like just gags that are alright, nothing special gags of Murasaki using his.
It's mostly a lot of hijinks. I mean, I think they're pretty funny for the most part, but like, yeah, like it's just kind of like random kind of Dragon Ball-esque hijinks, like him being trapped underneath the ice and not being able to get out, or Goku straight up peeing on him, which I like that joke mostly because it is a callback to something that was previously established, that he had that friggin' camouflage thing, and this time he gets it right, but that only
he gets the right side, but then it still backfires on him in some way, because none of his ninja techniques ever work against Goku, because it's Goku.
Oh my god, yeah. So just the mere fact that he actually he got it right this time, and Goku could not tell that he was actually behind this tree, but that just leads to Goku just pissing on him. Which, fun fact, on the original VHS boxes, the image that they used for this VHS volume of the Red Ribbon Army is straight up like Murasaki being angry that Goku had just peed on him.
Oh, fun!
It was that shot of him just standing there like fist clenched, grr, and like the steam rising up from his feet at the like. So I was just like,
I mean, I guess, without context, obviously you wouldn't realize that's what it is.
Right?
But, yeah.
But when I got to that scene, I'm like, wait a second, I grab my VHS tape, I look at the screen, I'm like, really? Your box art is Murasaki being pissed on? God damn it. But yeah, so yeah, we have Murasaki hijinks, still he is the butt of all these jokes. And then we get introduced to Dr. Frappe, and we kind of get like some insight into like why he's kind of such a loner. Is that like the Red Ribbon Army literally showed up and threatened him, like they physically threatened him to work for him and to build shit for him, and that's how Hatchan was made, and that's how we learn. And this is actually the scene where we learn that Frappe not only is like some sort of technical genius, but yeah, he is actually the creator of Hatchan. And you were talking about before, like the continuity issues this is going to create way later in the anime. Apparently, like the Daizenshu, one of the Daizenshu tries to skirt this issue by talking about like, well, maybe they worked on Hatchan together.
Sure, why not?
I mean, honestly, I've never been too upset about the Frappe thing. I'm just like, whatever. I mean.
No, I'm not upset about it. It's just obviously one of those things that just hilarious in hindsight, because there's no way they would have known.
Because I mean, like, if you guys like want like an in-universe reason, whatever. Frappe made 8, and then the rest of them are made by Garo. It doesn't really matter. Like, because I imagine somewhere there is someone who was just seethingly pissed off at this filler for just destroying Dragon Ball's anime continuity.
Sure, if you want to go back in time, guys, sure, fix everything. If you have a time machine. It's like the people saying, they're like, oh, listen, Super Saiyan God should have just been called Saiyan God, so then Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan should have been called Super Saiyan God. I'm like, guys, if you can go back in time and tell everyone that they were going to make another form, sure, then yes, that would have been the case, but we don't have time machines, okay?
Yeah, and honestly, I kind of adore the name Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan, because it kind of feels almost farcical and just like, this is the point that we've gotten to with these names, that we have literally put Super Saiyan in the name twice.
Yeah, but going back to Dr. Frappe, I actually find him... Honestly, Dr. Frappe is one of these characters where it's like, pretty much like his backstory is kind of incidental, but it also is kind of surprisingly kind of interesting if you really think about it deeply. I mean, like, he's this random mad scientist, or some scientist or something who can obviously build things. And then this, like, you know, this Red Ribbon Army guys, they just show up and they basically tell him, they force him to work for them and pretty much say that they will kill the villagers if he doesn't. So it's like, it's like a surprisingly complex situation. It's like, you know, is he like, is he regretful for what he did? Like, is he regretful that he made Hatchan? Does he want to make Hatchan? Is the fact that, like, is the fact that Hatchan doesn't like violence, like, something that Frappe put into him because he wanted to get back at the Red Ribbon Army? Like, was he supposed to be disobeying him? It's like, when I was watching this episode, I was thinking about all these questions when I suddenly found out what his backstory was, but the fact that this is a self-contained episode that's mostly caring about trying to defeat Murasaki means we never really get any sort of exploration as to who this character is.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of a shame that because he is just this one-off filler character, he is there mostly to provide an origin to Hatchan and to get the bomb out of him. Like, you know, and yeah, it is, you know, because, you know, now that you bring that up, yeah, it is kind of it makes you wonder, like, you know, was, you know, in the context of the anime, like, was Frappe, like, you know, like the way Hatchan is, like, was that Frappe's intentional doing? And yeah, like, honestly, I never even thought about that. Like, I was just like, oh yeah, like, you know, Frappe was, you know, forced to do this. I never really thought about the greater implications of, you know, how that would affect Hatchan in the narrative long term. So yeah, that's... And
also, like, you know, how they would reflect their relationship. Because it's like, you know, he doesn't really react much to Hatchan. It's like, you'd think if this was this thing that he was supposed to make for a Red Ribbon Army, and then, like, he'd see Hatchan suddenly there in front of him, like, you know, he'd have some kind of reaction to that. Like, you know, either he'd be ashamed or he'd be proud or something, but he doesn't really seem to act like anything. So it's kind of... like, really, it's not really the anime's fault, because it's like, obviously they weren't trying to make this subtle, but it was just kind of accidentally.
Right.
They could have done so much more with it. Like, this is great fanfic territory right here, basically. Like, that's what I was realizing. Hatchan is surprisingly interesting, just because of, like, what his character is like, and there's no reason as to why he's like that way. But he's like it that way, but, like, you know, the fact that they always keep bringing up the fact that it is weird that he is, like, always betraying the Red Ribbon Army and doesn't like violence, and, like, the fact that he shouldn't be like that, it does make you wonder, like, you know, there's no reason for it. Like, was there supposed to be a reason?
Right.
You know, it's interesting. Or at least I find it interesting.
Yeah, no.
Maybe I just find it interesting because he's basically Gohan. I don't know.
No, like, I definitely agree that, you know, when you think about it in that context, it's like, yeah, that is, like, a really interesting territory to explore, and I kind of wish that we could have cut back on some of the Murasaki hijinks to focus a little bit more on Frappe and, like, you know, his dynamic with Hatchan, and just kind of get more into his headspace, because we know that he didn't want to work for them at all, that he is a good man, but he was forced to work for this evil organization for, you know, or else they were going to kill him. So yeah, like this filler episode really brings up, like, a lot of kind of moral implications, and just kind of, like, makes you think about, like, oh, like, what could have been.
But yeah, also, yeah, it also got really dark as well. I mean, like, you know, there's that one point where Murasaki shows up and, like, oh, look, it's Dr. Frappe now. You know, Hatchan disobeyed us and yada yada. Now you have to take responsibility by getting, you know, stealing this boy's Dragon Balls, yada yada. And then Snow shows up, and then Snow's like, wait, what's going on? And then Murasaki's just like, captures her, and he's like, you do what I say, or else this girl dies. And I'm like, god damn it, why are you getting so dark again? Murasaki was not supposed to be this evil, was he? I mean, I guess he was, because he threatened to kill Hatchan as well. It's actually kind of messed up seeing these villains so, you know, villainous. It's like... You know, it's like, even, because it's like, with stuff like...
Yeah, no, like, they really lean into being just, like, the Red Ribbon Army is evil. And, like, the anime definitely just cranks up that evil knob, just that extra little notch on every character,
because it's like, you know, with someone like, even with someone like Piccolo Daimao, like, the entire point is he is evil. And he's not even human. He's, like, a literal king of demons, so it's like, okay, of course he's going to be evil, of course who's going to fight him, but these are just, like, random guys, like, just a random ninja guy, a random guy with white hair, you know, but it's like, so they keep going around and threatening people and murdering people, and you're like, this was supposed to be fun. I'm sorry, the Red Ribbon Army. The Red Ribbon Army.
We're not in the peel-off arc anymore.
The Red Ribbon Army is fucking me up. I'm sorry.
Like, I'm not saying, like, how is this like your first time actually watching the anime version of this arc?
No, I've watched bits and pieces, but never like. I feel like I never got past the end of Muscle Tower. I think like I was always like a bit into there, and then I was like, oh, I'll pick it up later.
Okay. So we're gonna start getting into like unventured territory for you soon. Then interesting.
But
well, anime wise.
Yeah. So what happens then?
So yeah, like after that, Frappe removes the bomb, and we find out even though he can build this really sophisticated android, he is capable of removing the bomb, which really just seemed to be taking out a couple of flathead screws. But he cannot fix the radar. The radar is just outside of his wheelhouse because we found out earlier in this episode that the radar was broken. Probably whenever Goku's plane crashed.
I think they were saying also because he had it in his pocket when he was in his shirt while he was fighting as well. When it's like, fair enough, if you've got that in your shirt while you're going around punching people and like flying and hitting walls, like, yeah, it'd probably get banged up.
Yeah, so yeah, Goku, like, busts up, regardless of how it happened. I mean, he's been through a lot since he last used his radar, so yeah, there's plenty of different ways he could have busted his radar. So his radar's been busted, which is the other reason why they were going to Dr. Frappe. And Frappe can't fix the radar, which once again, it kind of, strokes off Bulma's genius for, like, like the 16-year-old girl made a device that, like, Pilaf and all of his resources couldn't build, the Red Ribbon Army and all of their resources couldn't build. This man who built, like, a cyborg, like, took, like, a dead human being, put machinery inside of it.
A cyborg stronger than Goku.
Yeah, like took, like, a dead human being, put machinery inside of it, and made him an animate thinking creature, cannot fix the dragon radar. That just puts Bulma in a whole nother tier of intelligence. And it's...
Pretty much.
Yeah, and it's actually gonna, like, continue with that whenever, like, Senbei Nuramaki, once we get to Penguin Village, is also incapable of fixing the radar.
Bulma is stronger than gag logic, confirmed.
Yes, that is a fact. And then Murasaki dies in a gag scene.
Okay, can I just say this? Yeah, this was hilarious because he's basically like he's running away from Goku in like a snow. I don't know what you call it.
Like a sled, like a motor. Yeah.
And then it's like, and then Goku's like, okay, fine. So then he uses a Kamehameha and he basically causes avalanche and he gets covered in the snow, but then later on, Goku throws the bomb away, the leftover bomb, and the bomb just happens to land on Murasaki, and then it explodes, and it's like, basically, as it explodes, then it suddenly transitions immediately to Goku and Snow and Hatchan just walking along, and then you see the explosion in the background, there's all this happy music, and it's just like, oh hey, look, Murasaki just got violently exploded, yay, let's go on our merry way.
Right, it's just...
It's kind of hilarious.
Like it is so grimdark to think about just how cheery that scene is. Because, like, like you said, it's just like Murasaki gets out of the snow, he's like, I'm gonna get that, Son Goku. And next thing you know, just the bomb lands on his face and sticks to his face. And just Goku and Snow and Hatchan are just merrily walking through the snow away from Dr. Frappe's house. And just off in the horizon... Murasaki's dead, and it was played for laughs.
This arc, Leon, I swear. This arc.
Oh my god. It's one of the darkest, funniest filler scenes I've seen so far. Just Jesus Christ.
Exactly.
So that gets us into the next episode, and this was where, like, I guess you could say, like, the manga material picks back up. It's the next day, so basically the anime added an extra day to Goku's time in Jingle Village, and he's saying his farewells to everybody, and he's just like, oh yeah, I don't have Kinto-un, And he goes, oh, the Kinto-uns used to fly around here all the time. And then all of a sudden, everybody in fucking Jingle Village knows what a Kinto-un is.
I think they really look like those two guys, like the old, like, you know, it's like this random old dude and then Village Chief, who's also a random old dude. So I can at least understand that.
Yeah, it's just so random, though, that just, like, these two old guys just happen to know, like, oh, the Kinto-uns, they used to fly around here, they were numerous, and they're just telling the tall tale of the Kinto-un. It feels like such a weird-ass contrivance of just, shit, Goku needs his Kinto-un, but we got rid of it, and we need him to be able to get to the next plot point. So they were just like, oh yeah, Kinto-uns, they can't die at all, which we're going to find out is total bullshit later. But right now...
obviously, it's that, you know, the obvious reason is that Colonel Silver's rocket launcher didn't have a high enough power level to be able to destroy the Kinto-un.
Right, because you know, when
destroy the Kinto-un if you have a very specific power level. And it wasn't until Tambourine that... Was it Tambourine?
Tambourine.
Yeah, it wasn't until Tambourine that they had that the beings had a higher power level that they could actually destroy something like created by God. Because obviously, Kinto-un was given by God or also by Karin. So maybe you have to have a power level that's higher than Karin to destroy Kinto-un. And obviously, Karin's power level is somewhere in the... I'm going to stop.
No, I mean, it makes sense, you know, just, you know, like, it's just, you know, you can, like, Kinto-un is like, he's like a Majin. You can only destroy Kinto-un if you're able to disintegrate every single atom in it.
Yeah.
And then the Kinto-un dies. That's the only way to kill a Kinto-un. And Kinto-un, you know, you would think being a cloud, he's moisture, he could just reform himself. He can't, because anything killed by a member of the Demon Clan goes to limbo.
They don't come back to life yet. They don't go to the other world.
Is just in limbo forever now, and that's where he's going to spend all of eternity.
I'm actually liking his headcanon.
Poor Kinto-un, man. Just still wandering the land of the dead, unloved. No one to come rescue him.
Don't worry, at least in the real... I mean, at least now we get Kinto-un comes back, and then Goku starts hugging it, which is like the cutest and also weirdest thing ever because it's an inanimate cloud, but you know.
Right? Yeah, no, like Goku getting his Kinto-un back is fucking adorable. I love it. And then to celebrate the beloved return of Kinto-un, we get the Kinto-un insert song.
Yep, another insert song. Another insert song. I was looking this up. It's not actually specifically about Kinto-un, but they specifically took the verse that's about Kinto-un and then played it there. So it's literally called the Son Goku song. It's sung by Matsuko Nozawa as Goku, talking about Goku. And so it's like, you know, there's one point talking about like his different techniques and the things that he can do, and then of course there's a part talking about Kinto-un, and then there's a part talking about the Dragon Balls and how he wants to find his grandpa's Dragon Balls. Like, it's the most adorable thing ever, basically. I mean, if you guys have ever heard any of the songs where Matsuko Nozawa is singing as using her child's voice to sing, it's like, sometimes it's a little bit odd, but sometimes god damn it, it's cute. It's so cute. Yeah, no, I adore that scene. It's one of my favorite insert songs so far that we've had. Like, honestly, I would say like maybe my second favorite, because like I still like the martial arts tournament the most, and I think that's probably my favorite insert song in Dragon Ball in general. But like the Kinto-un one is really good. There is the Dragon Ball. I like that one, yeah. That song is great, and I feel like just it's never been used like in a really, really, really good moment is the problem. Like where it gets inserted, and the fact that it got inserted like twice so close together really kind of took the oomph out of it also. I was just like, oh. Yeah. So yeah. But so now that's the end of Muscle Tower, and Goku goes off to a new adventure, and the new adventure is like, can I just say, I think, like, out of all of the small mini story arc things in the Red Ribbon Army, I honestly think this is one of my favorites. Just Goku in the city. Oh, yes. I thought you were about to say Muscle Tower. I was just like, yeah, I mean, Muscle Tower is really good. But it's like, yeah, no, I love Goku just... Because
because Goku gets to West City, and this is the first time this is ever seen in the manga, by the way. Like actually seen proper. Like we saw I think one shot of it prior to this in the manga, but this is like the first time we really get no, I'm lying. I think this is the first time we just we've seen it in the anime. We've seen it in the anime a few times because the manga was so far ahead that they were able to insert that stuff into the 21st Tenkaichi Budokai arc. But here, this is our first time seeing it in the manga proper, and I love West City. I love the architecture here. This is just, it's such a cool environment. Toriyama, I love Toriyama's architecture. Like whenever he's legitimately trying and he isn't just drawing some vacant wasteland or fucking Planet Namek, he draws really interesting stuff. But he just let his imagination go. And West City, I think, is an excellent example where you see the shape of the shape of the buildings, how all the buildings are kind of curved. All the buildings have this really clean white aesthetic to it, very kind of futuristic. You see all the piping and things that are going through it, and just towers that come up to these big balls, and just it has this very rounded off Toriyama aesthetic that I really, really dig, and I love West City on just aesthetically alone.
But I mean, I just love it story wise because it's actually no. I mean, I'm thinking ahead of myself to Uranaibawa thing where Roshi's basically just the world is a big place. You should go off and see the world kind of thing. And this is kind of essentially it. This is legitimately Goku in a place where a very unfamiliar place. He's seeing the world. He's seeing things he's never seen before, and he's kind of not really understanding it because he's still kind of naive about it all, but he's at the very least interacting with in ways and looking at things that we never really thought we'd ever see him do. Especially even nowadays. The idea where it's just Goku is the guy who goes around and punches people. Everything around the story, generally the narrative revolves around different situations where Goku punches people. How would Goku react if he was in a city and he needed to find a friend and he didn't know where the friend lived? The answer is hijinks and shit, but not Toei hijinks where it's every character gets involved and it ends with something exploding and something ridiculous happening, but it's just lots and lots of small little moments. So it's first he wanders around and immediately goes around and gets stuck, makes the traffic stop because he walks out in front of traffic, not understanding. Then he asks someone where Bulma is, and they're like, I don't know, what are you talking about? Then he goes to a taxi, and the taxi tells the taxi to go to where Bulma is, and then he's like, I don't know where that is, do you have any money? And he's like, well, no. And he's like, well, get out, don't come until you get me money. And then Goku immediately thinks oh, so the only way you can get people to tell you where someone lives is if you have money. So then he conveniently finds some Bruce Lee, not Bruce Lee, asking for people to go around and, if they beat him, you get money. And so he goes and he beats him, and he gets money. And then he goes and he, what happens after that?
He gets robbed.
Oh yeah, then he gets he gets attempted robbery. They're hey, give me your money. And then Goku just beats them up, and he's like, hey, do you know if I'm gonna how to find this Bulma person? He's like, I don't know, but maybe just ask a police officer. And he's like, okay, cool, thanks. And just runs off. Then he finally goes and he talks to somebody else. He asks that person, hey, so where's a police officer? And they're like, I don't know, there's a police officer right there. And they're like, oh, thank you. And I love that he just then he just gives the girl all his money because he's like, oh, she did what I wanted, so I give her the money. That's how society works, right?
Yeah, no, it is full of so many, just, honestly, this a lot of this almost kind of feels like filler, because a lot of kind of inconsequential things, but, because it's just Goku gets in a taxi, then Goku thinks he needs money, so then he goes and, fights a guy for money, then some guys try to rob him, and then he just gives the money away to some girl who, directs him to a cop. And then the cop is the one who takes him to Bulma's house at Capsule Corp. And it's just, a lot of these things feel, so meaningless and inconsequential, but I adore them. They're fun little Goku moments. Every little bit of this. Goku just being wide-eyed and curious and oblivious. And because Goku, he's getting to the point to where he's kind of understanding the world more as he's gotten older. But West City is so far beyond anything Goku's ever had to deal with before. And, like, being in this environment, like, it's all this new stuff that he's never had to encounter, and it's like almost like the beginning of Dragon Ball, where he's trying to learn society, but, like, all over again, because it's a whole new facet of society. And yeah, it's all great stuff.
Not to mention, I also love the... I mean, we've sort of seen this trope kind of happen in some other parts, like the Pilaf arc as well, but, the thing where it's like, this big buff dude who can go around and punch people really hard, and he's like, oh, look, nobody will be able to challenge me, and then, like, Goku shows up like, oh, I'll fight you, and everyone's, like, basically laughing, because, like, oh, look, he's this little kid, you can't possibly know how to fight, like, you can't possibly do it, and he's like, oh, well, okay, and then he just goes in and just effortlessly beats his ass, and you're like, oh, huh. Like, I love it. I just love those moments, the moments where it's just like, everyone just underestimates Goku because, like, he just doesn't look intimidating, and then he's just like, he just proves everyone wrong. It's so fun.
Right. So, that pretty much covers this entire episode because, like, unfortunately, this episode is mostly just the Goku kind of just exploring around. Like, there's a whole lot of things, and we're seeing just kind of like the repetition of, like, Goku just like he encounters something new, doesn't really understand it, like, there's some confusion, and he goes, oh, I'm gonna try and figure it out, and him just kind of walking around West City. Like, as cute and charming and endearing as all of this is, I don't particularly have a whole lot to say about it other than it is just cute, charming, and endearing. How about you?
Pretty much. Like, the only thing is that thing with the whole Bruce Lee thing. That was also that. Yeah, he looks like Bruce Lee, and in the anime, he makes Bruce Lee noises.
Right? Yeah, he just straight up going, whoa! Yeah, that entire time.
Yeah. Also, the other thing is just like they actually do kind of reveal. Like, I think we kind of forget about it, but like, this is the thing where we basically find out like who Bulma really is. Like,
yes,
she's the daughter of the head of Capsule Corporation, and then we see the Capsule Corporation house, and it's this massive complex. And then you realize, oh, so Bulma's not just like a genius; she's also like a rich girl.
Yeah, which honestly completely makes sense when you think about it, because Bulma is shown to have fairly, like, unlimited financial resources when she's on her big adventure. It's like, how the hell is this 16-year-old girl going on this big-ass adventure to, like, go and, like, explore, and, like, she has all these capsules. I mean, she has, like, multiple vehicles that she carries with her, which they state are not cheap, Like, Yamcha's just like, oh, like, you have one of these capsules, like, that'll get us a lot of money. So capsules are, like, vehicles are probably comparably, like, expensive to what they are in the real world. So, like, this kind of, explains that whole element of Bulma of why the hell is this girl, like, who the hell is she? And yeah, this is our first time actually getting an explanation of who the hell she is. Like, oh, she is the heiress to the biggest corporation in this entire fucking world. And it's like, then like all the pieces kind of fall into place. It's like, oh, yeah, no, that...
Yeah, like, it explains everything.
Yeah.
Like, it explains why she has all these capsules. It explains why she's just willing to go off and go on adventures. It explains why she's, like, just so spoiled and selfish. Like, it makes sense. It makes total sense.
Yeah, no, like this whole thing, like this one little reveal in the manga, which feels really inconsequential, just tells you so much about Bulma. And yeah, it's great. Like I don't know. Like this feels almost too smart for Toriyama. Not to like shit on the guy, but like for him to have like that kind of, we're about to go to Bulma's home. What is she gonna be? She's gonna be the heiress of Capsule Corp, because we've already introduced capsules and what they are. Like it's like like he intentionally did this to explain, like you said, why she's spoiled, why she has all these resources, why she's able to just kind of go fuck off and go on a big adventure. Like, it explains everything, and it feels like almost inconsequential in how it's revealed in this story. It's just like, oh yeah, no, she's like, she's
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's not like Goku's going around or anyone's going around and stopping and being like, oh, so that's why Bulma's like that. It's like, no, this like that's just presented as just a fact of Bulma's always been like that. But like they never told us this, but it's just so natural. Like you legitimately do forget. Like I feel like people do kind of forget that in the early parts of the series, no, we didn't know that Bulma was the heir to Capsule Corp or that she had parents or all that kind of stuff. But it's great. And yeah, episode 40, the next episode, like, well, there is some filler stuff here, but some of the canon stuff here, I swear this is honestly some of my favorite parts in this. Like, literally, I think this is some of my favorite parts in the arc. Like, just meeting Bulma at her house and meeting Bulma and seeing the way she interacts with the other characters and her parents and the way her parents interact with her and the way, like, the police officer guy who's basically, like, the proxy for a normal guy is interacting with them. It's like, I don't know, something about it just feels so, like, grounded. Like, surprisingly grounded.
Yeah, no, it's good stuff. I like all of that interaction stuff. Yeah, it's all great, and we'll get into like the specifics. But like first off, I love, what was it? Once again, going back to Goku not really understanding this world, where they talk to the intercom, and Goku is just like, why is that pillar talking? And like once again, like this is like something Goku has never actually interacted with. He's never dealt with like a speaker or anything like that. He doesn't understand what this thing is and how or why it is talking to him.
I mean, there was kind of that moment in Pilaf arc where but I guess no, Pilaf was sort of talking through a screen, really. So
yeah,
it's a little bit different.
And even that, like he thought that was a window. Like he didn't understand the concept of a television, or I mean, he had seen a TV, but he didn't really understand like the concept of a monitor and someone actively speaking through like a monitor to him.
Yep.
And so like like once again, like I always love whenever Goku interacts with something new, like it actually kind of mystifies Goku for a moment, and he's just like, what is this thing? And it's not like, like this is gonna keep being the thing throughout the rest of Goku's life. Like, every time Goku finds something new, like, eventually, we're gonna hit that point where Goku, actually, pretty much by the end of this arc, Goku is gonna stop being, like, mystified and confused by things. Like, this is pretty much, like, the last time we're gonna see stuff like this. I mean, we're gonna see, like, well, this arc will be, like the last time we see these things. So, like, this is really Goku kind of fully forming into the character that we're going to see him as, like, in Dragon Ball Z and all that, and just pretty much who he's going to be for, like, the rest of the franchise.
Yeah, that was fun.
But so Bulma shows up, and Goku and Bulma are reunited, and let me just say, Bulma looks so cool in that opening shot, where she's, like, on her little hover bike, and she's got the goggles on, and she's just, like, listening to music, and she just looks cool. I dug that shot so much. And then just her excitement of seeing Goku again, and just like, oh, Goku, you found your way here, and blah, 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 and just, like, it makes them feel like friends. I like it, Like, Goku and Bulma's dynamic have gone from this snotty bitch really, like, using to her advantage this uber powerful kid to protect her and fight off bad shit, and so she can steal his property, basically, and to now that they are genuine friends who care about one another, and I love it. Like, we've really got to see these two characters grow, and just in the course of these few arcs, it's nice. I love their dynamic.
Oh god,
and it's nice to see them back together.
I just love everything about Bulma this episode. Like, she actually just has, like, so much personality. Like, I mean, she's always had personality, but, like, she often kind of felt a bit too much one-dimensionally, a bit sort of like, the girl who's there to give everyone vehicles and get in everyone's way by being a whiny, annoying bitch. But here it's like, I mean, she still has some of that, but, like, it's sort of like she also feels far more just like she's got more elements to her. Like, she shows up riding a motorbike with music playing basically just because. And then we find out that she does go to school, but then she ditched school because she thought school was boring. And it's like...
Which, I'm glad you brought that up, because this is like...
Jerko?
Damn it. You deflated my joke again, Gaby.
Okay, you know what?
I can't
I'll
be a fake angry Dragon Ball fan if you keep undercutting my jokes.
Anyway,
as I was going to say, this completely conflicts with what we read in Jocko the Galactic Patrolman, because at the very end, it says that Bulma graduated from university. How could she have graduated from university if she is still a high school student in ditching classes? Horrible continuity errors. Disgusting. Toriyama just, like, the fact that he couldn't even be bothered to reread his own manga when going and making continuations for it. You know, everything modern in Dragon Ball is terrible. Only the original was good. I kind of ran out of steam there. So I guess we can get the podcast back on track.
But yeah, it's like, also, one little joke I loved in this episode, or this is the manga, in the anime and the manga at the same time, basically, Goku sees Bulma first. He notices Bulma is coming because he can smell her. And, you know, one of those times where Goku's sense of smell actually does come into play. And then after that, like, while Bulma is talking to Goku, then the police officer starts, like, sniffing the air because he thinks that Goku has smelled something. And, like, okay, she smells like something, thinking that he can smell something. And, like, it's just kind of, like, nonchalantly. He's just doing it while they're talking. And then it's, like, as they walk in, it's just like, she doesn't seem to smell, like, that much. It's just, like, God damn it, it's good.
Yeah, no.
Like, I think that random police officer is, like, he has now become one of my new, like, underappreciated characters in Dragon Ball, because he's just, like, I don't know, he's just fun. Like,
he is a very well-crafted, like eye-level character. Just this normal guy in the middle of all this weird wacky, because, like, the Dragon Ball world is weird and wacky as is, but Goku and Bulma are a different level, like, removed, because, you know, she's, like, the richest girl in the world, Goku is this weird little jungle boy, and...
who's not even human.
Right?
But we don't know that yet, but yeah.
But yeah, so, just, yeah, it's great stuff. And we get introduced to Dr. Briefs, and Briefs is his first name. He doesn't have a, like, Brief is... She's not Bulma Briefs. When they go and they look up her name on a little Palm Pilot thing, and, like, just like, oh, like, is it this Bulma? It's just Bulma. Like, she doesn't have a last name.
Not Bulma Briefs, it's not Bulma Enchanto either.
What?
Oh, that was one of the guys in Dragon Ball Evolution that her name was Bulma Enchanto.
Yeah. I did not know that was... What? Did she actually say
also in that one, there was also Chi-Chi McRoberts.
Okay, I apparently have not heard this before, because I'm just like, what the hell?
It's not in the movie, it's like some kind of supplementary material.
Well, okay then, I learned something new. So we get introduced to Dr. Briefs.
Yeah, oh god.
And he is just eccentric, wacky scientist, which is funny because we just got done meeting an eccentric, wacky scientist. But this guy...
This is a real one. Like this is one where, like, you actually can... Like, you know he's an eccentric, wacky scientist, not just because characters are telling you. Like, he has a garden in the middle of his house where he goes and collects stray cats, dogs, and dinosaurs.
Right.
As you do. He has a random black cat just... randomly sitting on his shoulder. It's there forever, basically, for the rest. Every time we see him, he pretty much has that cat on him. He just kind of, like, you know, when she's like, oh, hey, look, it's Goku, he thinks that the police officer is Goku somehow, and Goku is just really tall for a 12-year-old as opposed to the one who actually looks like a 12-year-old being Goku. And then you have, like, when Bulma says that her and Goku are gonna go up to his room, he thinks that they're gonna, like, elope or something. Like,
yeah.
He's just got, like... What I love about Dr. Briefs, and also Bulma's mom as well, it's just, like, they're just so, like, chill. Like,
right?
Maybe it's just because, you know, they're the richest guys in the world, and because, like, their daughter is Bulma, and you could even say, retroactively say Jocko and stuff like, just nothing phases these guys. They're just like, oh, so you're Goku. So you're that weird monkey boy Bulma met in the wilderness. We're going off on an adventure to go and search for magical balls that might grant her when you wish. That's cool. Like, they're just so chill. It totally also explains why it also explains Bulma in a way, because it's like,
Right?
you know how, because you know how it's like, Bulma is kind of leaning a bit more, like, tries to be a bit more sort of civilized, but at the same time, Bulma's mom's also sort of saying, like, basically she's going through a rebellious streak, so it's like, maybe it's just like Bulma is trying to sort of be the more kind of like the voice of reason, the more kind of normal one, because she's rebelling against her ridiculously chill parents.
Yes, thank you. Cool. That's exactly what I was wanting to bring up, too. It's just...
Oh, okay,
yeah,
cool.
because that's something that I was thinking about. It's just... Bulma, like, because like I said, like, meeting her parents really contextualizes the type of person Bulma is. Is that her parents are so chill and just give zero fucks, and they're kind of weird, and they would be embarrassing to the average teenager. So, like, she's horribly embarrassed by her parents and doesn't want to be, like, all weird like they are. So, like, she is just, like, super serious, and it's great. Yeah, I do like how meeting her parents, because you get to see her, like, you can see the frustration she has with her parents.
Yeah.
And then whenever, like, she gets frustrated with other people, like, with, like, Goku shenanigans, she just kind of flips her shit. Because she's been living with this nonsense for 16 goddamn years.
No, I just, like, and it's just so interesting, like, just the very fact that we see Bulma's parents, like, it just suddenly recontextualizes her. Like, because, like, you see her in this position where basically, like, obviously her parents still have, like, power over her. Like, suddenly Bulma is in a position where, like, she's not, like, in control of everything. Like, she still kind of, like, hesitantly has to sort of listen to her parents and pay attention to them. Like, she's still kind of got that sort of respect for them. It's like, God, she's just so interesting when you see her interact with her parents like an actual teenage girl and not just a living plot device made to dispense capsules.
Right? Yeah, no, it's like this is where Bulma really becomes a character. Like she was a character before. She had a personality, she was fun, but, like, prior she was really just there for, like, sex jokes and to be kind of undermined and to be, like, the bitch who kind of ruins, like, the fun. Here, we kind of get, like, context into why she is the way she is, why she's spoiled, why she can fly off the handle when nonsense is happening, why just, everything about her really gets, like we now have that context for her as a character, and just, yeah, this entire scene says, like, just this little scene between her and her parents and, like, seeing how she deals with them, it contextualizes so much about Bulma and really elevates her as a character into being one of the more interesting characters in the show. And it's great.
And it does this, and it's all completely, like, it's not even, like, spelled out.
It isn't.
Words. Like, it's all subtle. Like, it's just like Toriyama was thinking, like, why would Bulma be like this? And then he sort of comes up with reasons, but he's not, like, this isn't trying to be reasoning as to why, like, it's not trying to openly reason as to why Bulma isn't. It's not like, trying to give Bulma a backstory. It's just like, oh, hey, Bulma has a family, she has parents, she lives in a house, what would it be like?
Right.
It kind of makes me wish that we, like, other characters in this series had parents or families. It would kind of be sort of interesting, but, like, Yamcha or Krillin Krillin kind of did. Yamcha never had Tenshinhan,
right.
didn't,
Yeah, no. Like, I always imagine Yamcha was raised by wolves. And for, like, the first, like, 5 years of his life, he didn't actually know he was human. But, as far as, like, everything you said about Bulma, I feel is completely on point. Like I said, I love all these interactions. I love how just, he introduces us to her parents. And, like, at no point do we have that character who goes, oh, Bulma, I totally understand you now. Or, oh, like that, like, you make sense.
Exactly,
like, we don't have, like, because that's not what the scene is about. Like, we get these two characters, they make sense within the context of what we know about Bulma. It's like, it's like Toriyama was just like, okay, well, I need to make, like, some parents, but it's Toriyama, so he can't just make regular parents, so he needed to make parents that made sense for Bulma, and he does it, and it does make sense, and it's great. Like, this whole scene, like I said, it gives so much context, it says so much about her character, and I love every little bit of this. Like even, like, you're talking about, like, how chill her mom is. Her freaking mom offers sake to Goku, a 12-year-old. And she's like, don't try to give alcohol to a minor. And she's like, oh, you're so rebellious. Which like the anime kind of does that repetitious thing of like, you know, it adds in a couple more of those than are in the actual anime or than that's in the manga, where it's just like that rebellious phase, and yeah, it's just.
And because Bulma's mom's also so chill. It's like, you know, the sort of revelation that like she'd been like stepping on her daughter, and it's just like, and then she like turns back to normal. It's not like, oh my god, Bulma, like, you know, there's no shock horror. It's just like, oh, Bulma, how did you get under my foot? It's like,
yeah, it's just like, yeah, you shouldn't get underneath mommy's feet. It's just like, you just shouldn't step on me. It's like, it was like, well, you shouldn't be shrinking yourself down. You know, like she does. God
damn it! You know what this is making me like? I want to just like write fan fiction of this family.
Do it. It would be way more interesting than any of the fan fiction that's currently being made about the next big bad that showed up to go fight the characters post GT or in some made up continuity.
Oh god! Like, because honestly, I think, I mean, to be fair, they're one of the few actual families that we have seen operate. Heck, like
right.
All of the families that Toriyama writes, with the exception of maybe like Gohan and Videl, like they're all so fascinating. Such fascinating households.
I mean, I find Videl and Gohan fascinating as characters. Like, I really appreciate their characters and how they grew up into adults.
Oh, I appreciate that, but like, I feel like they're like, you know, if you imagine like what their normal dinner time would be like, it'd probably be pretty tame. But like, if you imagine Goku's household or like Bulma's household or Bulma's parents' household, like they're not conventional anyway. God damn it! I want to do like a video about this now, like Toriyama families, because they're fun. Anyway.
Right, and the thing is though, like it's kind of interesting that Videl and Gohan became the most kind of generic conventional family when they came from some of the least conventional backgrounds in the show.
Maybe it's their rebellious faces as well.
Right? Yeah, because I mean we even know like Videl outright spells that out. Like, you know, she was always raised to be this tomboyish fighter, but like, you know, she does appreciate girly things too, and she actually, like, you know, is fine with settling down and just kind of being like a housewife. And like, you know, they actually acknowledge that, you know, a lot of that was more of her upbringing and less of, you know, what she personally wanted as a person. So, you know, like, you know, yeah, like this is kind of the rebellious phase, you know, because Gohan was always raised around training and fighting, and he's just like, I'm gonna be a scholar, and, you know, she was just like, I'm gonna be a housewife. And they both kind of pushed away that training element of their life, and just to settle down and have a family and just be the two most normal characters in the franchise, oddly enough.
Exactly. I mean, obviously it doesn't make them as interesting to watch when they're being the normal characters, but like...
But it's so cute.
It's very cute. It was very cute. But also, you know, the other thing that's like, once again, the thing that just kind of tells you everything is like, you know, the other thing they also explain is that like, you know, it's really just an excuse to get a character out of the way, but it's basically just that, like, Yamcha isn't here because Yamcha and Bulma are fighting, because Bulma is as upset that Yamcha has suddenly gotten popular with the girls, and she basically, pretty much because Bulma is being kind of a little bit irrational here, she's upset because Yamcha's popular with the girls, and she's not the only girl who likes Yamcha now, so now she just doesn't like Yamcha. Kind of the idea is like, you know, if he's not like only mine kind of thing and nobody else knows about him, then like what's the point?
Right, yeah. Yeah, so yeah, like it's kind of odd, like how this arc was just like, we really just need Bulma for this. And it kind of feels like they're kind of like trying to set things back to like kind of go back more into the peel-off arc and just kind of reset everything of like, it's Goku and Bulma are going to go on an adventure. And
that didn't last very long.
Right? But it is kind of an interesting thing that like how they're kind of resetting everything. Because I wonder if that was an intentional part on Toriyama. Like he was just like, oh, well, people, like, I wonder what the readership was. Like, were numbers dropping? Were people wanting this to be, like, another Bulma and Goku story, and people were disappointed that Bulma wasn't in the story, and that's why he goes back and intentionally puts her back into the story? Like, I'm really curious, like, what the behind-the-scenes is on this.
Because it is interesting, though, because especially with, like, I mean, obviously Bulma has been a major character, but you don't really see many people, like, you know, really go out of their way to be like, oh man, I wish Bulma had more screen time, you know, like it's never really a thing that people go around and really like protest. So I don't know. I'm not really sure why he decided to bring Bulma because when we get to the next story arc, he brings back Krillin as well, and that was one that makes more sense, I think, than Bulma. Maybe I guess they just wanted somebody to drive ships and stuff. Bulma's really helpful for plot reasons. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's just it kind of like, just whenever you take the time to think about it, it feels like an odd choice to kind of bring the story to a halt to just kind of bring Bulma back in. And I mean, I appreciate it because I like Bulma as a character, and I like getting to see Bulma's family at very least. So yeah. Also, we get the introduction of the micro band, or the Mikuru band.
Is that really worthy of an introduction?
I mean, it is going to be a plot point, so it's worth mentioning. Like, it's
I guess so.
Because it is the thing that's going to cause some shenanigans later in this episode, and it's how Bulma is going to travel around with with Goku, because she still can't ride the Kinto-un, so she's just gonna shrink herself down. And like, this is such a weird thing in this episode. Like, everything, like, for all the weird shit that's in this, like, like how weird her family is, the introduction of the microband, this thing that just shrinks Bulma, honestly, to me, is the weirdest thing. Like, it feels so out of place in this story, where everything else, yeah, I know that we're, like, inside of, like the richest person in the world's house, the guy who invented Capsule Corp, and he has, like, an indoor garden with all these animals and a fucking T-Rex, and the mom's offering kids alcohol and shit. The microband, to me, is the weirdest thing. It just, like, I mean, obviously it exists solely so Bulma has a method to ride around with Goku without her having to, be, like, in a separate vehicle and try to keep up with the Kinto-un. But even so, like, it's such an odd inclusion that this was Toriyama's way of dealing with this.
I mean, I was just gonna say, like, I kind of agree with you. Like, when I was throwing it, I'm just like, this is like a Dr. Slump thing.
Yes, there you go. Like, it
Norimaki
feels...
just, like, invents something new today for him to do something.
Yeah, like, there you go. There you go. That's what it is. It feels Dr. Slumpy. It feels a little too cartoonish and slapsticky in the middle of this arc to just be... I mean, it's Dragon Ball, so they can get away with it, but it feels kind of oddly out of place. Also, something that I think is kind of worth mentioning is in the manga, this isn't in the anime, but in the manga, Bulma says, if I had been with you, we would have found the 4-star ball weeks ago. How long has Goku been gone?
Well, I mean, traveling time, I guess.
Yeah,
I mean, like, he had to, like, fly that, he had to fly that plane all the way to the north, like, or the south, or wherever the frozen place was. There was no Kinto in there.
Right. It seems...
I guess it does just buy into that theory that Goku just, like, had a month nap when he was going inside the Red Ribbon Army arc.
Yeah, no, just, like, yeah, so, I mean, we just have to assume that Goku, for months, was just flying around in circles, just dicking around, not getting a beat on the friggin' track. That's, like, the only way that makes sense, is that, like, Goku was just, for well over a month, was just kind of flying around, because... I mean, Pilaf does say it's been a year and 15 days. So, like, I guess just in anime time, like, yeah, like, Goku has just been doing this for a while, and he's just now, getting, he's just been doing this for months, and he's just now, like, only gotten, like, 2 Dragon Balls.
Pretty much.
So, yeah, then we start getting into... well, we're gonna get like one more manga related scene, which is Red getting the photo, like Commander Red getting the photo of Goku that was taken of him at Muscle Tower. And in the manga, this scene actually happens earlier, because I forgot like how it's juxtaposed. It's juxtaposed with a specific scene, because it's just like. Let's see if I can find it. But, like, in the manga, it just leads to them doing like the all points bulletin, like, you know, do you see this kid? And you know, if you see him, you know, let us know. And
basically kill him on sight.
Yeah, like, yeah, kill him on sight. And let's see. Oh yeah, okay, yeah. So in the manga, this scene happens because it's juxtaposed with them talking about their dragon radar, which then leads directly into Bulma fixing the radar for Goku. So that's why that scene is pushed further back in the manga. In the anime, it's put further ahead in the manga. In the anime, they move that scene back and do it later so they can introduce Husky, who is this master thief who's stationed near West City. Because they're like, oh, well, the kid's somewhere in West City. So, like Husky, she's this master thief, and this is all filler material. She's a complete filler character. Once again, did not know she was filler. She just kind of felt like, okay, yeah, this is just the next antagonist that Goku's going to run into, because it seems like Goku's going to run into an antagonist every time he goes someplace. So yeah, that totally made sense to me. And yeah, so like, you know, they're in West City, so he has to fight someone in West City or confront someone in West City. And one of the things I thought was really interesting about this dynamic with Husky is they bring back the thieves. Like the people who try to rob Goku, who are in the manga, they are from the manga, they are now brought back as filler characters, basically, to like be subordinates of Husky. Which kind of gives like their role a bit more, because like honestly, of all the things that that happened to Goku while in the city, the whole getting robbed thing feels like the most superfluous. But now here these characters are brought back, and so, you know, it's going to be Husky and these two thieves trying to locate Goku and find his Dragon Balls and steal them. And
while they're all in an amusement park.
Yes. So we also get to see Yamcha's straight up fan club. Just a whole bunch of girls holding up signs going, Yamcha-sama! And demanding to see Yamcha. And one of my favorite Goku lines, he just yells, Yamcha isn't here! And they're like, who's this kid? Blah, 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 blah. Bring out Yamcha! And he's just like, are they foreigners? Because they don't seem to understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's. I realize it's anime only. The manga basically just, you know, it doesn't imply a fan club, but it implies, you know, just that Yamcha's just being popular. Yeah, he's popular with the girls, and you know, now I'm thinking about it, the idea they just got a fangirl club. Like, do you think fangirls sent letters to Toriyama saying that Yamcha was hot?
They have to. There's no way they don't.
Because I heard somewhere in Dr. Slump, I think, with Sukutsun, who looks a lot like Yamcha, and apparently when he was introduced, suddenly there's all these girls who like sent letters to Toriyama and saying that like he was like a really like how he was hot and everyone liked him, and he like wasn't expecting that kind of reaction at all. But like with Yamcha, presumably he'd know that. I don't know, because it's like, I mean, it's also probably like, you know, the same reason as to why there's like, you know, so many like Vegeta fangirls. It's like he's like the bad boy, except he's not really the bad boy anymore, but he also has a fear of women, and like, you know, Yamcha is probably pretty good in husband or material, or whatever the male equivalent of waifu is. Because, I mean, you know, he's both, like, the bad boy, and he's, like, the timid guy. Like, he's everything. You get everything with Yamcha.
Yeah, honestly.
You also get memes.
Honestly, now that you bring it up, like, Yamcha almost feels focus-tested to appeal to young girls. Like, you know, he's soft and sensitive, but he's got this rough exterior. But if he can just tame him and get to, like, the good in his heart, he's a really nice guy. And it's just, oh my gosh, I didn't even think about it like that. Oh, man.
This is why I'm here. I have to tell you how the fangirls think. Even though I'm not really much of a fangirl, but...
Gaby giving us insight into the female mind. So yeah, one of the things that the filler decides to add in, which is I'm really glad that they did do this, is that Yamcha's back. We actually do get to spend some time with Yamcha before we split from West City, because I feel it's kind of like a missed opportunity to just cut Yamcha out entirely. So we actually do get some Yamcha, and Yamcha's sulking because Bulma's being a bitch, and like just in one of the best scenes with Puar and Oolong ever. They're just like, oh, come on, Yamcha, you can do better. Yeah, she's like bossy and a bitch, and she's, God, what a hateful fucking cunt she is, am I right? And just, Yamcha, oh man, fucking, this poor guy. You know, he's just like, yeah, I mean, she's blah, but, you know, he's like, but, you know... And before he could finish his goddamn sentence, Bulma reveals herself because she's been hiding in Goku's gi in her shrunken form. Just go, well, sorry for being a bitch, and just storms off. It's like, Goku, let's just go to the amusement park. Fuck Yamcha. And Yamcha's like, hey, we were totally gonna go to the amusement park too. And everyone goes off to the amusement park, and Yamcha's trying to repent for his horrible boyfriend sins.
Poor Yamcha.
Right, poor guy gets the shit stick again.
Or as Lance would say, poor adult.
Right, that poor adult. Ding. Right, oh my god, we went so long without mentioning Lance until this point.
I was consciously thinking about it. I'm like, you know, maybe, I mean, we're almost at the end here. Maybe we shouldn't say anything. Then we're not going to mention Lance. We won't have anything Lance count of it.
Right, yeah, myself. I mean, we've gone so far without actually, you know, having to, like, you know, make any Dragon Ball dissection callbacks. But we're right there, right at the end. Gaby with the Lance reference.
I couldn't keep my mouth shut.
Something I do want to say is, I really dig, like, just the weird friggin' amusement park thing that they're going to. Because it's just like, I forgot what the hell they even call it. But, like, they do acknowledge that. It's, like, up in the air. And it's, like, on this weird pillar with spirals. And once again, it's just West City having weird shit in it. Like, the architecture's really odd. This isn't a Toriyama thing. But I could totally see this being just something that Toriyama would draw. Like, it's just like another weird-ass thing aesthetically in West City. And I totally dig it. But yeah, that pretty much wraps up everything, these 4 episodes. Like we were making really...
The only thing the other point I had was at the end, you know, the thing with the police officer, and he's just like... the thing I think just, like, made him my favorite, where he's just like... Rich people make no sense at all. And then he rides his bike, and his bike has been altered to be like super, super fast, and he like runs through a red light accident, and he gets like yelled at people, and they're just like, I think I see what you mean.
Yes. But yeah, no, these were a great set of episodes. I liked all of them. I can't really think of like a bad one in the bunch. I mean, you know, like the episode where Goku is in West City, I mean, it's kind of fluffy, but I think it's all good fluff. Like, I mean, I enjoyed every last little bit of that. Dr. Frappe being a filler character, he could have been explored a bit more, as you brought up, and I could have really gone to, like, his personal insight, but what we got, I still really liked. Hatchan and the resolve to the Muscle Tower stuff I liked. Bulma and her family, obviously, I loved. I mean...
as all the time we kept talking about Bulma.
Right? I mean, we probably spent almost as much time just talking about Bulma than we did, like the entirety of, like, a single episode, like, for, like, the rest of these. Because, like, the rest of these, I mean, we were making really good time up until we got to Bulma, and we just started talking about her dynamic and her character and just how she relates to her parents.
This is how these dragon casts work. Like this is how these dragon casts work. We get fixated on the most minute of details, and then we just talk about it for like 20 minutes.
Yeah, because like even like some of these, you know, we'll find like an episode where it's just like, oh, like we'll have like a little bit to say about each element, and then we'll have just where we barely don't have a whole lot to say about an episode, but then we just hit one element in an episode that just has so much to dig into. Like I mean, like I think the last time we talked this much about a minute element that most people wouldn't even mention is the Goku Uzaru thing, like, in the end of the Pilaf arc, where we just kept going on about how fucked up it was. And here, it's just like, this is just like, we just went on about how interesting this was. So, yeah, no, like, it was good. Like,
yeah,
I really
it was
liked
good.
this
Like,
episode.
the only thing I was thinking about was just the fact that the Muscle Tower climax was a little bit of a disappointment, simply just because, like, in the end, there wasn't really much of a like, the confrontation with White was more just like a weird game of messed up,
Yeah.
like, just messed up everything than it was actually like a fight or some kind of resolution. It resolved Hatchan stuff, but it didn't really resolve anything else, and White was just like a pushover and a coward and a despicable guy. It was just kind of weird. That's the only thing I think that did kind of gripe me, but besides that, the other episodes was fun. Like, I mean, one thing I think like some of my favorite parts of Dragon Ball are literally just parts where characters are sitting around and interacting with each other, and it's not necessarily like in any hurry for anything to happen. Like, this reminded me of like the stuff with Goku and Bulma. It reminded me of some of the stuff in like the Great Saiyaman arc, where Gohan suddenly just like drops off at Capsule Corp and just goes talks to Bulma and being like, "Hey Bulma, I need some help with a superhero costume. Can you help me?" And he's like, "Well, duh, of course I can." And he just wanders around and says hi to everyone and says hi to Trunks and Dr. Brief and Vegeta, and it's like that's some of my favorite stuff, and especially when it happens in the manga, because it's like, then it's important. Then you can't even skip it.
Right. Yeah, no. I definitely just take it. It's great stuff. And honestly, like, I can't wait till we years from now, eventually get to talk about Great Saiyaman, because there's so much good Great Saiyaman stuff.
Oh, I love it. I love it so much.
Right.
Comment time?
Yes, comment time. So, first one, since we just brought up Lance, I guess we'll read the first comment, which is from Lance. In the manga, he's like, I'll elaborate on the black rank change for anyone who's not aware. So we brought this up that Black's rank is different in the manga from the anime, and we kind of gave like a vague summation of it, but like Lance definitely knows a lot more about this. So Lance says in the manga he is Black Hosa, which is basically Adjutant Black. Which I never even knew, like, what the hell adjutant was.
I've never heard that term before.
It's a military rank. I had to, like, because, like, I actually had to, like, look it up, because I've seen adjutant plenty of times, but it's only ever been in reference to Black, so I was just like, what the hell is it? And honestly, I've already forgotten what that rank actually even means. But I did look it up. It's just like, okay, like, it is just a military rank that I'm not familiar with. In the anime, he is Black Sanbo, which means Staff Officer Black, and is a reference to Little Black Sambo, a popular children's story from around the 20th century. So yeah, like, Little Black Sambo, he's like he's basically a very racist caricature. Like, I mean, you can easily look that up, like what that character looks like, but yeah, turn of the 20th century, illustrations of black people, you can only imagine how bad that gets. But yeah, so yeah, he is his name is a reference to that character.
I got a question. I got a thing from Ashley to Noah,
yes.
Because I pretty much promised I had to say this stuff, so I promised I would respond to this, so I did. Yeah, she's like, I love the comment section segment too, because I basically said 2 episodes ago, if anybody comments saying they like the comment section segment, I would respond to it, because why not? Right. It's also kind of ironic how the sarcastically attempting to power scale counter makes fun of a section of the fandom, but the comment section segment shows that not all the fandom is bad. It's a nice juxtaposition.
Yeah, no, like, and that's kind of, because I never really thought about it like that, like, because, I feel like we curate a pretty decent audience between the two of us, that we have, like, people who aren't just interested in the power scaling and the superficial elements of the show, and that we actually do have people who listen who are like just legit, like fans who want to talk about like the narrative and have interesting little points and informational bits that they want to say and just things that they want to express. And yeah, this is probably one of the most interesting observations, is that, like, yeah, like we, I mean, mostly me, maliciously trash on a subsection of this fandom, a subsection that one might call the majority, but like our comment section does show that that not all of the fandom is horrible, just a horrible dumpster fire. But like there are like
if you're listening to this, you are probably not horrible,
right?
Probably,
yeah.
I can't tell for sure. I don't know every one of you. I'm not psychic.
Yeah, I mean, for all I know, you could leave really good comments and then curse off puppies in your free time. You could secretly be a horrible monster, but we're gonna give you the benefit of the doubt and say that you're a pretty cool person. But yeah, I do kind of love just that. Like it's kind of interesting that like someone is basically kind of almost deconstructing our own podcast to us about how there are these two conflicting elements of our podcast.
Listen, I like deconstructing myself. It's fun,
right? So yeah,
I'm fine with this.
So yeah, no, that's such a great comment, and I'm glad that you brought it up because I was going to if you didn't. Something that I also enjoyed, not really insightful, but just funny to mention is, it's not even a word. MNNM. This is basically DB dissection, which I kind of love.
We must go deeper,
right? It's just like we're gonna dissect the dissection. We're gonna go even deeper into Lance's work and just deconstruct Lance's work to him. But no, it is kind of funny because I think Lance does some of the best content in this fandom. I think he's definitely the most insightful person when it comes to talking about Dragon Ball. I think he has some of the most interesting points. And yeah, so like he's since I'm such a big fan of his work, so of course, when we're talking about, deconstructing Dragon Ball, of course we're going to talk to the guy who's probably the best at deconstructing Dragon Ball and use him as a reference and a source. Though I mean like all the opinions that I espouse are my own. But
I was just gonna say, you know a certain person is going to get offended because you said that.
What?
That you said that Lance was the best at deconstructing Dragon Ball.
Oh, whatever. I mean, I think it's an objective fact. So, but yeah, it's just, I can't really think of anyone else who even really does it on the level that Lance does. I mean, we talk about Dragon Ball, we can get kind of deconstructive about it, but he's like going through manga chapter by manga chapter and really just, fine-tooth combing that mess. And that's something that I'm just not willing to do. And honestly, it would be kind of pointless for me to do because I feel like Lance already does such a good job. And his opinions kind of line up with my own, I would say 80% of the time. So I don't think it's really worth doing that exact same thing, only to have a 20% opinion difference.
Pretty much, yep. That is the issue. I mean, in fact, that's the one problem with Lance. Lance is great. The problem is sometimes when you agree with everything he does, it's well, shit, I can never do a video about this topic because he covered everything.
Right. So you have to just jump into get all of your Android and self videos out of the way now before he has a chance to fucking talk about it, and then you're just well, damn it.
Actually I know that's a joke, but that was sometimes I did think about things like that. I think when I did about a video on the Freezer arc, and I'm just it's good Lance hasn't gone into this yet, because otherwise people would accuse me of ripping him off.
Right. Yeah, because I always kind of because I don't ever remember all of Lance's things, because sometimes I feel like I am regurgitating things that Lance has said, but that's just because he and I have the exact same opinion on certain things. That's just how that's going to happen. When you have two people who are just kind of fine-tooth combing this series, us in the context of this podcast and him in the context of Dragon Ball Dissection, you're going to have, overlapping opinions. It's just going to happen. And usually, if there's any idea, any opinion that I have that I got directly from Lance, because, Lance, kind of brought some insight that I ever thought about and it changed my viewpoint on something, I will mention it. Or if Lance's opinion harshly conflicted with something that I felt, I would bring it up as well. Kind of like with the Colonel Silver filler. He doesn't like it. I really do. And I kind of state my case for why I'm on that side of the fence. So yeah. Next comment. I'm not going to read all of this one because it's a really long comment, but because it gets like really into specifics. But Banana Tree 25. I'll admit I never watched Dragon Ball as a kid. It was also the fault of the broadcasting companies, though. Dragon Ball was never had a TV release in the Netherlands. And then he goes into the specifics of how all the shows were released and how Dragon Ball never got released, and GT and Kai and all of that stuff. And that is something I never really think to consider because I am a big dumb American, and I have been indoctrinated into believing that America is the center of world culture. That I just assume that if I grew up with Dragon Ball, and everyone, because America, I always kind of view got like the one of the shittier releases. Like, so I just always assume that every other country just either had like the same type of release schedule that we did or a better one. So it never dawns on me that just other countries would just not have what we had.
I mean, I'm still trying to figure out how exactly Dragon Ball aired in Australia, because I've heard that we got Ocean dubs at some point and Funimation dubs at some point, and I'm just like, well, that's cool. I mean, basically mostly just because I'm trying to go back in time and find like 10-year-old me and tell them to watch Dragon Ball Z and like just actually watch it. Like, I know you think you're not gonna like it, Gaby, but you will like it. I am you from the future, okay? But
oh man, I just realized, because I was 14, I think, I think I was even younger than 14. Yeah, no, I think I was 12 when I started watching Dragon Ball Z.
Actually, I think I would have been, like the right time, I think I would have been, 8, maybe.
Yeah, let's say, because I think when, what's the age gap between us? Is it 20, or, I'm sorry, not 20, it's 11 years, I think? So you would have been like a year old. You would have just been born when I was watching Dragon Ball Z back when it first started, like, the Toonami wave.
What year was that?
That was 98, I want to say.
Yeah, I was 3.
Okay, 3. So, yeah. Oof. So, yeah.
Fun times.
Right?
I saw a question from Prince of Zawarudo over Salmon. Great recommendations, Gaby. Insert songs are the coolest. Now, serious question. What are your favorite insert songs in and out of Dragon Ball?
Yes.
That's a good question.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like my out of Dragon Ball anime knowledge perhaps isn't as good as much that I can think of a lot of them. The one that comes off the top of my head is Happily Ever After from Gurren Lagann. That moment where Simon shows up and then just basically goes around and starts talking about how he got to believe in himself, and then he just like kicks ass and does his Giga Drill Breaker, and it's like the most awesome thing ever. But obviously in Dragon Ball, like, it's in Unme no Heat, like, why not? Like, it's kind of cheesy, I guess, but it's, and really the kind of way it's it kind of makes a moment seem a bit more triumphant when it might not have necessarily been this triumphant, but it's fun, okay? Listen, like, it's just so fun. Like, how many other times when you get a power up only to Hironobu Kageyama singing a song about how you're going to go beyond yourself and get rid of all chase the darkness away. It's like, it's so fun and inspiring. I love it so much.
Yeah. For me, it's within the context of Dragon Ball. I would say it's probably, like I said, I keep going back to that 21st Tenkaichi Budokai, man. Like, I love that theme so much, and it stood out to me so strongly, probably because, like, it's such a big scene in that arc, and that scene was completely silent in the dub when I originally watched it. So when I went and I watched it, in the dub it was completely silent. In the sub, that's the first time I ever heard that song, and it was years later, and it was such a jarring difference. It was the first time I'd ever heard, like, a Dragon Ball insert song. So, like that's the one that sticks with me the most, and who knows, maybe, like, throughout the course of this, because I mean, like, I know, like, Yamcha has, like, a really great song later on, and that is, like, that one's awesome. I know there was a really good song in the Android saga where like Trunks is having like a flashback to his past, and there's a really good insert song there. But yeah, like as far as my favorite though, I have to say currently though it's still the Tenkaichi Budokai thing. Maybe that'll change during this rewatch. But as far as outside of Dragon Ball, I can't think of insert songs outside of Dragon Ball. Like I completely forgot that Gurren Lagann had had insert songs. I'm like, oh yeah, duh, because it had like that, like, you know, because I mean I've quoted like row fight the power frequently.
Oh, but that's not really an insert song actually. That's just part of the OST.
Well, no, well, I mean that there is a song that goes with it. Well, because it's
was it like Libera? No, it's not the Liberati Me.
Libra Me from Hell is the song.
Yeah, that's the one.
And that's a great song, and I do remember that one. You know, because it has like that sweet little, like it has like that those sweet rap verses, and it has. So if I was gonna go into, because I completely forgot. Like I can't believe I blanked on that so hard. But yeah, no. Probably that one, because that one is one that I have quoted so frequently, and it is such an awesome moment in Gurren Lagann. I really can't think of, because I can think of like soundtrack themes, and I don't know if this counts as an insert song, but in the anime Nana, there's a band. Like one of the main characters has a band, and they play actual music in it, and there's a lot of great songs that they play in that. There's one song in particular I blank on the name of, but it's the one that they kind of play the most frequently in the show. And yeah, so like, you know, Gurren Lagann, Nana, if you count that, has some really great music. But yeah, like I said, like I don't really, like I can't really think, because like insert songs are so rare in anime. Like I just never even hear them that often. Like, you know, usually like a song has a bitchin' theme song. There's usually some great themes, like instrumental themes, but I can never really think of like an insert song that really stands out and pops for me. So yeah, I think that was it. Like that was the last question I was about to read. You beat me to that one. So yeah, Gaby, you still there?
Yeah, I'm still there.
Right.
Yeah, I was just looking at the other comments. There's only one more, but it's like, I don't want this to go over 2 hours as well.
I mean, hey, whatever. I mean, people don't care. They've made it very clear that they don't care if we go over 2 hours.
All right. The last question was from Cody Stork, and they say, "What is the best set of name puns in Dragon Ball?"
Oh,
I feel like there must be some. I still can't think of a good one. I know there are good ones. Obviously, you know, you've got like the Ginyu Force, which are great because it's like the literal like the dairy squad, and they're all dairy.
Yes. Yeah, let's say like, the Ginyu Special Forces is good. I honestly do like the Red Ribbon Army. I like the color scheme names, and I especially like it. I think that the thing that really like, you know, tips that one really in my favor is that, you know, Murasaki, you know, he's clearly the one Japanese influenced character, so his name is literally just purple in Japanese, where everyone else is Western influence, so everyone else has their names in English. So yeah, like that's one that I really like. Let's see.
I mean, I would just have to say, like, probably the best one is Frieza, because where he was just like, Toriyama basically starts thinking, and he's like, well, somebody who controls all the Saiyajins, or, you know, the Yasai, the vegetables. Well, I mean, what about a freezer? Although it probably should have been refrigerator, but, you know, you put vegetables in a fridge. So if you had a freezer, like, he will be controlling everyone, and at that point, every member of Frieza's army is something that you can find in the fridge.
Yeah, that is like one of the really clever ones, because everyone's like some sort of fruit or vegetable, or, you know, in the case of the Ginyus, they're dairy products, and then like even like, you know, when it starts extending to Frieza's family, you have like King Cold, and you have his brother Kula when you go into the movies. So yeah, no, like that is a really good name pun set as well, especially because, like, you know, Frieza is so all encompassing that, like, you know, he rules over all of the produce. So yeah, that is a really good one. I kind of feel like the Bulma's family is pretty just juvenile.
just like that one's like I said. I think the reason why that one's a bit like it's not as good is because it just feels like he's just thinking of undergarments,
right.
and then he's just
putting
them in.
Bulma's mother didn't even have a name.
Yeah, she didn't have a name. Like
she's just
Bulma's
mom.
Says like in one of the interviews, like, oh, I guess if I give her a name, it'd be like
Panty,
a variation on Panty somehow. But he never did.
So yeah, she
doesn't have a name.
Yeah, no,
she doesn't have a name. Just like she doesn't have eyes.
Right? Yeah, no, she doesn't open her damn eyes at all. Well, at least that's all way later in the show. So yeah,
I love that. I love that stupid joke in a bridge where it's just like, "Oh hi, we've got a visitor." It's like, is he colored? I don't know. I never opened my eyes.
But yeah, honestly, like I said, I do like the Frieza pun. I mean, the Saiyans have a great vegetable pun thing going on. So yeah, I do really like the one you mentioned. But like I honestly just like it's kind of a toss up between the Red Ribbon Army and Frieza and his forces. And like I said, like the Red Ribbon Army really it's because of Murasaki, man. Like Murasaki just adds that extra little flavor to it. But I do really love the creativity that Toriyama actually put into thinking about Frieza's name pun. So yeah, probably Frieza, because I can't really think of. I mean, you have like Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo. That's pretty cute. But it never goes as far as like the Frieza pun thing goes, because he has so many henchmen, and you know, like all of the Saiyans fall under that same kind of naming scheme, because you know they're all vegetables because they're all ruled under Frieza, which is it's just So yeah, no, I think you nailed it. I mean, it's kind of cheating, I think, to say Frieza because he's so all encompassing, but no, I mean that's also part of the purpose. Good. It's part of the purpose of his name. Like, he was meant to be all-encompassing over all the other... Like he is the one pun that rules them all. So, yeah.
Yep.
So, yeah, no, it's Frieza. It's Frieza and all of his subordinates and how they all tie together. Hey, we kept it under 2 hours! Woo!
Woo!
Alrighty. So, yeah, no...
Just...
just under 2 hours. So, yeah, that's all I have to say. Gabby, you done?
Pretty much. Next time we get filler, I guess.
Yeah, some filler. We're gonna get a couple episodes of filler, and then we're gonna get introduced to General Blue. So that's gonna be next week.
Ooh.
Yes.
Okay, because I've heard some weird, messed up things about the way that anime does General Blue as well. So.
Yeah, that's gonna be that's when we start hitting some of that Penguin Village filler. This is gonna be.
Things gonna start getting uncomfortable. Oh no.
Yep. All right, guys.
I'm not looking forward to that. That being said, I am looking forward to the Pirate Cave. Pirate Cave's fun. So.
Pirate Cave is gonna be fucking awesome. All right, guys. Till next time, Xeon out.
Bye, guys.
Okay, so we lied a little. The Dragon Cast is not over. This is a little thing we're recording after the fact. So about 12 hours after recording the Dragon Cast. After we got done gushing about Bulma and celebrating her character, it was announced that Hiromi Tsuru, the voice of Bulma in the Japanese dub, passed away. And yeah,
like we felt like we needed to mention it because. Yeah, well, we did spend so much talking about Bulma and that Dragon Cast, and by the time it gets uploaded, obviously, everyone will probably already know, and it'll be like, wait, did you know this? Did you mention this? And, it's like, on the one hand, so, as you know, when we recorded it, we didn't know that we didn't know this hadn't happened yet, so it's, in a way, I'm kind of glad, almost, that she hadn't died at that point, because, it meant that we could really basically just sort of talk about Bulma without having this sort of overshadow us and kind of make everything feel kind of depressing. Because we're here in the Dragon Cast to have fun and talk about things we enjoy, and obviously situations like this are inevitable. I mean, especially when you have a franchise that's been going on for over 30 years. But we do need to say our respects and acknowledge it all.
Yeah. I mean, like Gabby said, I completely agree. It's just this happening right after we recorded this, I'm definitely glad that we did it before, because we got to celebrate Bulma, and now we're kind of mourning Bulma, and it's you can't talk about the anime and Bulma and gush about her from here on out without thinking about, oh, right, the original Bulma is gone. And I think what adds, like, an extra layer of just kind of sadness to this, for me, is that, this is now the second original Dragon Ball voice we've lost. Like the original 3, it's the narrator, Goku, and Bulma.
Wait, is Jojo Yanami, did he actually pass away, or did he just step down?
He stepped down for health reasons, but we're losing all these voice actors is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Like Hiromi Tsuru is, obviously she's just passed away entirely, but like Joji Yanami, his health issues, clearly, I mean, the man couldn't even give like a solid performance in even as like the narrator, like you could hear how weathered his performance was. And he was obviously on his way out, and the last time we heard Tsuru, she was just as full of life, like just as ever, just
like, she was only 57, they said.
Yeah.
It's not, like, it's not that old, I mean, when a lot of people have been, like, saying, kind of being like, oh, God forbid, what would happen if Misawa passed away, because, like, she is, like, in her 80s, but, like, yeah.
Right.
Tsuru was only 57. I don't think this was anything that anyone's really expecting, but, like, stuff like this can happen no matter what the age, and heck, no matter how long the franchise. I mean,
right.
You had things like, what was her name, the original Yellow Ranger, and then she she tragically passed away in a car accident, and it's like, and then you have like celebrity deaths where they die, people who like celebrity to die from drug overdoses, or also car accidents, or just things where you don't even know how, and it's like, it makes things kind of interesting, almost a little bit difficult to talk about when you're a fan of something like this, and then this sort of unavoidable tragedy sort of happens, and it kind of ends up sort of clouding the entire show. I mean, with Joji Yanami, and I think with, like, other people like Daisuke Gori, and, like, I don't know, the original voice of Muten Roshi, like, they eventually ended up getting replacements, and, like, we're all kind of used to those replacements now. It's all kind of all right, but, it's just interesting, when we're talking about Dragon Ball, and then a moment like this shows up, and it's just like, it is going to change everything. It's going to change the way we look at Bulma, really.
Yeah, I mean, because we're talking about, like, one of the show's main characters. Because, I mean, Dragon Ball has had some recasting done due to people passing. Yeah, we've lost Tenshin Han. We've lost...
Tenshin Han as well,
like, and Tenshin Han kind of just had, like, a more... Like, I feel, not to downplay the original actor, but, like, he had, like, a more... like stereotypical, like, stoic performance, and I feel like that's kind of easier to replace. But then, like, like Mr. Satan, like the current Mr. Satan sounds completely different from the original. The voice actor for Oolong has taken over for Joji Yanami, and his Kaio is so far removed from the original Kaio. That's like Dragon Ball's voices in Japanese are so distinct that I feel like it's really hard to replace a lot of these people. And like the new Mr. Popo, I think, sounds terrible. Like, it took me forever to get used to Mr. Satan. But like with the case of Hiromi Tsuru, like, like her inflections, like her tone, like, she is Bulma in my she is Bulma in my mind.
Yeah, her tone is very distinctive, yeah, and of course it's like she's not only Bulma, but she's tight, and then I guess if they ever make Bra old enough to talk, she would probably be Bra as well, and
I think she was GT Bra.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure she was, but I'm just like, if Super ends up aging her up at some point as well, she would have probably taken on that role as well. So I mean, yeah. It's just one of those things that, makes you remember. It's like, I mean, the manga is kind of eternal. Like, obviously, well, I mean, not eternal. I mean, even if God forbid, even now, obviously, Akira Toriyama doesn't really draw the manga anymore. So I guess it did end up ending, but it's like, it's always going to be there, but it's like the voice actors aren't always going to be there, kind of thing.
Right.
The characters will always exist in our hearts, but the people who voice them won't. But, you know. At the same time, I don't want this to be just a kind of like, oh, being almost kind of like a purist or sort of bashing the new voices and be like, oh no, they're not as good, yada yada yada, blah blah, they shouldn't have replacements, and it's because it's like, I mean, there are plenty of a lot of, long-running anime franchises where, like, someone like Doraemon, where, like, the voice of he's had, like, 3 or 4 different voices, the Japanese, through different adaptations and stuff, so.
Yeah, and Lupin's on his 3rd voice actor as well, so.
Yeah, so it's like, obviously, in an ideal world, like, we wouldn't have any voice actor replacements. Heck, sometimes we get voice actor replacements for completely different reasons. Like, Chi-Chi's voice actor went on, like, maternity leave or something, and then they got a new person to do it. It wasn't like they passed away or anything. They just, didn't want to do the voice anymore because they had a kid, so.
Right. I didn't actually know that. Like, when did Chi-Chi step down?
I think it's partway through the Saiyan arc, maybe?
Okay, so it's like so early in that I probably... Man, that's gonna be... Huh. See, now that I know that, I'm gonna be listening for it, like, for, like, adult Chi-Chi and seeing, like, how she differs from what I'm used to hearing Chi-Chi sound like. But yeah, it's just... I don't know, it's just sad, because like I said, this is my Bulma. That's, not to quote, Battle of Gods or anything, but, this is, like, my Bulma that I've just lost.
Oh, I didn't even realize.
It's sad, it's just, her voice is so distinctive. Like, I always thought, like, it was gonna be Nozawa. Like, Nozawa was gonna be the one that we were gonna lose, probably next. And, her voice is so distinctive. And it never dawned on me that Hiromi Tsuru, like, being so much younger would have been the one that we lost. And, once again, someone with a very distinctive voice who's been around since episode 1. Like, yeah, it's just, Dragon Ball, it's still going to be Dragon Ball, but it's, it's not going to be quite the same without having, Tsuru there as Bulma, and it just makes me sad to think about. Like, every time we're going to get Bulma in an episode from here on out, it's going to be someone different, and it's probably going to be someone whose voice doesn't match up to Tsuru's, who's going to be very distinctively, not Tsuru's, so, oh, yeah.
I'm just, at the very least, one, not necessarily a positive thing, but I mean, like, that in fact that, like, it's good because obviously, while Dragon Ball Super is still going, Bulma, is not there commentating in the Tournament of Power, so there's nothing, she hasn't been seen since episode 96.
True.
So, and she basically wouldn't be seen unless they end up going back to Earth or whatever after Universe 7 wins or whatever and being like, oh, hey, Bulma, we came back safely, and right. Like, she doesn't even necessarily need to talk there. All she needs to do is, like, see Vegeta and, like, give him a hug or a kiss or something, and, like, that's basically all you need to do. After the next arc, if Super has the next arc,
right.
Which is, I'm still not even sure if Super's going to keep going after the Tournament of Power, so it's like, well, I mean, this is a Dragon cast, not a Dragon Ball Super cast, but still.
Still, I mean, it's part of Dragon Ball. It is part of the greater franchise. I mean, there's nothing wrong with ever bringing it up. And, like, it's definitely relevant right now because, we did just lose Tsuru, who is our current Bulma and has been our Bulma. And when that character comes back, though, I wonder how they're going to handle it. I'm hoping that given the time they have, since, they don't have to, like, rush out a voice actor the very next week, that they do take the time to find someone who's a suitable replacement for Bulma, and just, hopefully it's not too jarring of a change, and just someone who really does the character some justice is all I really want.
Yeah, but, I mean, it's... sometimes life happens. Sometimes life just goes and hits you when you're in the middle of talking about your favorite anime, and then suddenly you realize that people are people, and tragedies happen, and things happen, and, condolences to everyone who knows Hiromi Tsuru in real life, like, the voice actors and the friends and family and everyone. It must be a terrible thing, so hopefully something good might come out of this, if anything can, but if not, well, just, time goes on, yada yada. It's life, I guess. We will have to, get up next morning and do what we always do.
Yep. So yeah, we just wanted to do this little thing, like this little kind of tribute to Hiromi Tsuru at the end of this, kind of talk about her, what she meant to us, and, acknowledge what had happened, because, like I said, we recorded this literally the day before, and by the time this goes up, it's going to be kind of weird, and we'd get a whole bunch of comments. You guys didn't mention Tsuru. What's up with that? So that's why we didn't mention her in the podcast proper, and this is kind of our feelings on it now. Like, I'm gonna start working on a Bulma tribute now because of this, so, look forward to that, I guess. And...
yeah, that's a good idea.
So,
something out of this.
Right? Yeah, so, I want to do something positive, something for this character and for that actress. And, alright, this time, the Dragon Cast is over, and hopefully we'll see you guys next week.
Bye.